Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Pro Wrestling Inquirer Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. William D. Morgan. Also have two gentlemen on the line with me right now who watched the pay-per-view, who are, let's just say, a tad bit ticked off over some of the events. We'll get to those guys in just one moment. You guys can join us too. 706-993-4606 is the number for you to call in. Let me introduce the panel. Again, myself, I'm William D. Morgan, host and moderator. But on my right hand side, is my man, Mad Justin. Justin, how you doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for coming back on. It's been about a month since we've done one of these. I know we missed the Beast in the East review. I cannot wait to get into Battleground. Actually, this was an event which I was not excited for, but it really turned my head. This is the best Battleground pay-per-view in the past, 3 installments.
Agreed. Also, let me turn to my immediate left. Good friend, longtime friend, Swax. How you doing, man?
What's going on, William? Not bad. Awesome pay-per-view tonight.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it right now. First of all, let's get into the non-important pre-show. This time around, we get Wade Barrett versus R-Truth. Rights to the crown match. King Barrett gets the win over R-Truth with his patented bull hammer. What do you guys think about this matchup?
You can't really say much about this because honestly, I thought this was an ultimate joke of a match. I mean, WWE is going completely wrong with Wade Barrett right now. I go by Wade Barrett. I don't do that whole King Barrett bull crap. I mean, respect. I have a lot of respect to the King of the Ring winners in the past, but honestly, I mean, it gets kind of boring when you have, okay, he won the King of the Ring, and it's good that they walk out the crown and the little staff thing that they have. That's fine, but if it carries on for more than 3 months, it just gets old. So Wade Barrett, the match was just, it's a kickoff match. You're not expecting a whole lot. It wasn't really much of like a blood warm-up for the fans out there. The fans were really into it, but I got a kick out of R-Truth walking down to the ringside with a plunger in his hand. I got the ultimate kick out of that, so I was like, that's the only thing I can ultimately take away from this match. I mean, the match was just average at best, so nothing really to get much into full detail about.
Swash, what'd you think?
I think this match was pretty good for an opening match. At least they had a little bit something on the line. Who was going to be the official King of the Ring? And R-Truth held his own during the match, but Wade Barrett with the bullhammer had the last laugh.
The last laugh wasn't even funny. He put that evil, cynical laugh up at the end.
Yep.
I don't like. It's really hard right now. Don't you guys kind of agree that the WWE is going completely wrong with Wade Barrett right now? I mean, Wade Barrett is top tier talent.
5 minutes.
I mean, if he's not, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think that Wade Barrett has it all. I mean, world championship-wise right now, no. Should he be in the picture? Absolutely. I mean, they're giving him push after push, and then, winning the Intercontinental title, and then United States title at some point, and then, now he's going back down to, kickoff shows. This guy deserves to be on the pay-per-view base card, if you really look at it on the network.
Well, one thing about Wade Barrett is, as much as he's underrated as a superstar, how he's booked is that he's booked very, very low. And Wade Barrett, he hasn't reached a lot of success in his career. Maybe to win like the WWE World Heavyweight Championship that, he would be able to carry, but they haven't made him the next top guy who can get at least one World Championship title run.
I'm still waiting for Cesaro to get that push. I think Cesaro has been just on the sidelines. He's being put in the tag team division. I mean, it's good because I love Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. When we did the Elimination Chamber, I was praising their performance in that Chamber matchup, and then Tyson Kidd had the whole neck injury, and Cesaro had an excellent, hands down, probably in the running for match of the year in the WWE, or probably an entire professional wrestling world when he faced off against John Cena a couple of weeks ago on Raw. I mean, that should have been his signal, or get Vince McMahon looking at what Cesaro can be. there's just a lot of, there's a couple of top tier talents, and Wade Barrett and Cesaro are the two guys I honestly wish that they got more of a push.
The thing that kills me about Cesaro, he's over with the fans, but for some reason Vince doesn't like him. Vince doesn't think he has that it factor, and I think Vince is just completely wrong on Cesaro. I agree with him on Daniel Bryan. I really did. I thought Daniel Bryan was too small to be your champion. Great wrestler, great athlete. Not taking that from him, but I just thought he was too small to be a believable champion. But he's completely wrong on Cesaro. Completely wrong on him. And to see him on the sidelines, not even being a part of his pay-per-view, was just sickening.
Yeah, I was. Once we discuss further of the pay-per-view, other than that, Cesaro has been impressing me. Cesaro always shown a lot of charisma in the ring, which is very, very needed for a superstar. Right now, he's showing a lot of charisma. He's showing a lot of work. And if the person is showing a lot of work, then I think that guy needs to get rewards for this. Except for top matches of the year.
If they didn't have, okay, so I really wanted to see Cesaro win it. I mean, if we saw like a Wade Barrett Cesaro matchup, I mean, R-Truth, I loved R-Truth in his days in TNA, as Ron Killings. I remember when he won the NWA Championship. I was only 8 or 9 years old at the time. But needless to say, I followed R-Truth for a while now. Including when his days back in the early days in the WWE when he was known as K-Quick. I mean, ever since then, ever since after that, breakup with John Morrison. In a couple of years ago, WWE has never really had anything for him, and now, I cannot believe R-Truth is really sticking around this company. There's nothing going for him. They're making him look like an ass clown out there. I mean, I want to see, him succeed, but right now, why would he even stick around the company? I want to see more from R-Truth as well. Hopefully, something does come about, which I highly doubt right now. But hopefully something does come to his mind, and hopefully he parts ways with the company and finds something on the independent circuit. I mean, I don't want to see him be a waste of time. I think R-Truth, or Ron Killings, I like to call him as, gets more of a bigger push someplace else. WWE is not treating him well. I want to see some more success from him.
You have to remember Ron Killings, or R-Truth, is a former 2-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So he must be good enough if TNA is going to make them a world champion, then, he should be successful somewhere else. And R-Truth, or Ron Killings, should have been a little bit more successful in the WWE than he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wanted to see the success from him, and I don't even count that time with The Miz when they were attacking, the officials and everything in that Hell in a Cell matchup with Brad Maddox. You guys remember that a couple of years ago? I mean, I don't really even still consider that. I mean, yeah, that was a nice highlight, but honestly, I still like the times when he was a singles competitor over on SmackDown when the brand split was still somewhat in effect. R-Truth could have had a lot of success on if the brand split was still going on. Now that we have like one huge roster and they're all appearing on the same show, that is when everything ultimately goes to hell. And R-Truth has been that guy to fall completely down in the rankings, or because the WWE has those rankings, and overall his performance has officially taken him off cards, and has fallen the pre-shows. He's basically like the master of the pre-show. You always see him on the pre-show.
Well, in fairness to R-Truth, let's not forget, he has somewhat success in WWE. He is a United States champion. He was a United States champion, rather, excuse me. Also a tag team champion. So he's had some success, but not as much as he should have. Nowhere near as much as he should have. He's one of the best athletes on that roster, and okay, I get it. You lose tonight, fine. You finish off the feud with him and Wade Barrett. But up until tonight, he was whipping Wade Barrett's butt. So, I don't know. To see him not being carried the way Kofi Kingston was carried, it's a little shameful.
Our Truth should have been carried like a Kofi Kingston. Our Truth, as a very athletic person, he could really go with a, like a cruiserweight to a heavyweight. He could stack up, within that range, and he's, he knows what he's doing. He doesn't botch or anything. So why not give him a little bit of success like Kofi Kingston? Lots of Intercontinental titles, lots of United States titles. Make him a good, solid mid-carder that, people's going to respect, down the line.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get back into this pay-per-view. King Barrett defeated R-Truth via the Bullhammer for his win. We'll see what R-Truth can do to rebound, if anything, on Raw. We'll see if they even have him out there on Raw. We shall see. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Randy Orton defeats Sheamus via the RKO, and it was truly out of nowhere in this matchup. What did you guys think about that Randy Orton Sheamus match?
Okay, I'm gonna go a little superhero here right now. I mean, God forbid, Randy Orton had that spider sense on tonight. I mean, there was times where he did the little Peter Parker move to the left when his spider sense was on the spot when that guy was about to punch him and he hits the locker and Spider-Man won. He did that twice to the bro kick. I mean, honestly, the match was an ultimate, this should have been, there should not have been any dark show or a pre-show. This should have been, the start of the show. This is how you do it. I was very much into this matchup. And also, did you guys check and see, near the end of the match, you get to see a little, skip to my Lou by Randy Orton. You do like a little, shimmy, a little... what was that? What was the Muhammad Ali little, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of move with his feet? You know what I mean?
Rope-a-dope?
Yeah, he did a little bit of a rope-a-dope like he was fighting little Marvin Hagler. I mean, you saw that in that corner. I was like, what are you trying to do, man? Are you having a boxing match or what?
Yeah.
What'd you think, Swax?
This match was expected. There's two guys that know how to go. They really put on a lot of good show. You heard Sheamus just yelling out to the crowd, "Oh, is this entertaining enough for you?" These two guys definitely know what they're doing, and this was expected. An all-out brawl, just going with haymakers, they're doing their signature maneuvers and everything. This was an awesome match. Randy Orton knows how to execute when he has to execute, and that RKO out of nowhere just ended the whole match.
And it was out of nowhere, truly out of nowhere.
I love the match. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, I'm lost for words. I'm actually rewatching the show as it goes on. I haven't changed it off the network yet, but the match is going on right now, and I really did enjoy it. The crowd was into it. Randy Orton is coming home. He's a hometown guy. You had to give Randy Orton the win in this one. I think if Randy Orton did not win, it was not going to suit well with the fans.
Oh no.
But also when it comes to the whole Sheamus, standpoint, he is the Money in the Bank winner. I think that Sheamus could have really needed that victory to really, can remain his dominance and, keep the championship on notice. So, I think that, if Sheamus was to really, probably win, like I said, it's going to end up, reigning the dominance, saying that, he's ready to cash in whenever. And, I think with tonight's outcome of the championship match, I think that we can end up seeing a Sheamus, Seth Rollins thing pretty soon. I don't want to see Sheamus hold the title until WrestleMania or Survivor Series because we just got done with having Seth Rollins carry the damn thing. So I want to see the WWE just move on, give us a little bit of a, fresh, some fresh air in our mouths, in our heads, and, move on from the whole Money in the Bank until next year. I think it has to happen sooner rather than later.
Man, to be honest with you, I don't want Sheamus to hold it at all. I don't.
None of us wanted it. I think Sheamus could be the second guy to lose a match.
Yep, I think so.
I can see it.
I can see it too.
Well, actually, he would be the third guy because John Cena, even though he won by disqualification in the Money in the Bank briefcase cash-in, John Cena did not win the World Heavyweight Championship because of that. And then you had Damien Sandow, who cashed in his Money in the Bank against John Cena for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he lost that. Yeah, maybe Sheamus will be the third person to cash in and not win a championship.
I don't think that Sheamus is ready to carry a championship right now. That guy was rocking a nose ring tonight. I mean, did you guys see that? The guy was rocking a nose ring. Like, what's the point? I mean, I understand you're kind of like this Celtic warrior, whatever. But was a nose ring necessary, honestly? I mean, that thing is just, it does not really fit with him. I like the mohawk. Something new. The WWE wants to see something new. I mean, the guy's been injured a few times, and, he keeps on jumping from being a face to a heel, face to a heel. It just, I think that, that nose ring had to be the icing on the cake for his character.
Very interesting. We'll see what happens with both guys. I don't think, like I said, I don't want Sheamus to win anything. I don't want Randy Orton to carry the world title again either. If you're going to put another title on him, a tag team championship, one of the mid-card belts on him, that'd be fine by me. But I don't want to see either one of these guys be a world heavyweight champion because they've already had that time. It's time for those guys to move over and let the new generation come in and do their thing. WWE Tag Team Championship was defended tonight. The Primetime Players defeat the New Day with Xavier Woods. It was the class of the Titus on Big E that helped the Primetime Players retain. First of all, my main gripe with this match is Xavier Woods sounded like a little schoolgirl on the outside of that doggone ring. I just wanted him to shut the heck up.
Xavier Woods, he's like the third wheel that's useless. He does really nothing. Tamina is much better in her little threesome squad than Xavier Woods is in his threesome squad, in my book. So, at least Tamina does something. Xavier Woods, all he does is blab his mouth.
Come on now, y'all. Come on, bring it back home, y'all. Bring it back. Let's go, bitch.
I mean, I was just waiting. Okay, there was a time back in a couple of years ago in the WWE. Do you guys remember Abraham Washington?
Yep.
Remember when he pulled that Kobe Bryant comment that got him fired from the WWE?
Yep.
I was just waiting for him to say something like that, just to botch something. I was just like, he's gonna botch something so bad right now, and I was just waiting for it. Luckily he didn't do it. He stuck to what he had to do, but needless to say, I can't. I can't really, say, anything bad about the match. The match was actually pretty good. Even though it was one of those standard, tag team matches you see on the card, of course you're going to end up getting some sort of interference, by Xavier Woods. I was expecting it throughout the entire match. We did see it with a little bit of a head kick to the face of Titus O'Neil. Let's call him Titus Young, by Titus O'Neil, but Titus O'Neil was able to rebound and get the victory for him.
Yeah, the whole match was good. Big E, he really impressed me tonight. By throwing, was it Darren Young over the top rope and then some? That was a pretty big power move spot in the match. But the whole match, they have good chemistry. They have good chemistry, both teams. But one thing about Xavier Woods, I think he needs a megaphone and a Jimmy Hart outfit because that's what he's going to wind up being soon.
Or go back to his days as Consequences created and get a bigger push in TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked him and R-Truth or Ron Killings back in TNA. I mean, I saw a couple of their matches together. They had some chemistry. I mean, R-Truth and Consequences Creed was better than Pac-Man Jones and R-Truth, for God's sakes.
Pac-Man Jones. I haven't heard that name being talked about in a long time. Alright, next match on the card. Bray Wyatt defeats Roman Reigns via pinfall with Sister Abigail after Luke Harper interferes. So, A, are we getting the Wyatt family back? And B, what is next for Roman Reigns, guys?
Well, one thing about this match is that Roman Reigns has to know that as good as he is, he does not have any promo skills, and he does not have any charisma. Bray Wyatt, however, has the promo skills and has the charisma, and he can put on a match. And it's because of him why he got the push to win this match. Even though he got a little help, there is a little hint of, another three-man tag team being in the WWE now, which is the Wyatt family, that should have never broke up in the first place.
Agreed.
And, with Roman Reigns has to know that he has to polish his character up. He has to present himself as something that would, the fans would be more interested in, because the fans really don't like him, ever since he won the Royal Rumble this January. He was not really accepted ever since. He needs to do something with his character, and hopefully good for the better. And I think he would win a big match like that.
Go ahead, Justin.
I thought the match was fantastic. I saw a lot of, like I said, they're hitting some signature moves, some finishers on each other, and it was just kick out after kick out. I really love that, Harper came back. I don't know exactly where Rowan is. I think that's going to be, the next development within the next couple of weeks here, as the build up to SummerSlam, starts heating up, because we're just a few weeks out of it. So I really want to see the Wyatt family, return. They should have never broken up. I agree with Swax. That was the bread and butter of the WWE. Is stable-wise, the WWE has not had a valuable stable since the Wyatt family or the Shield.
True.
I think that they really need to get a stable back together as soon as possible. And I loved, I think that it's going to end up, they're going to continue this rivalry. It's a really good rivalry. I love how Bray Wyatt has really turned, around in the WWE over the past couple of years now. Going from being just Husky Harris, to the transformation to Bray Wyatt. WWE has struck gold with him, and I think this rivalry with Roman Reigns is probably going to end up being a nice push for his career. And how well he does promotion wise, getting into the heads of his opponents. I really love, the John Cena, and also this Roman Reigns kind of promo or that he cuts. It's just so well done that the WWE is putting a lot of time, a lot of effort into the character of Bray Wyatt. Yeah, I want to see Bray Wyatt as champion one day, but he still has to solidify himself against top-tier talent, and the WWE has pushed Roman Reigns higher than anybody else in years. So right now WWE is striking gold. They have their emergency of mid card match in a Bray Wyatt and a Roman Reigns. So I really loved how the way this match really it ended. The match was just on point all night, and I'm very excited to see where they go. With the addition of Harper into this kind of battle between the two. Maybe it's going to end up being a 2-on-1 at SummerSlam, or whatever the case may be. I heard another thing is that if the Wyatt family get back together and ultimately if Roman Reigns gets outnumbered, we can see a Shield reunion, but it's going to be an interesting, next few weeks leading up to SummerSlam to see what happens. I would love to see it. I know Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are still on good terms in the company and storyline-wise, but we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out, regardless of what Seth Rollins does, what the WWE has with Seth Rollins.
I said on the Wrestling Call-In Show, this sister program, the Wrestling Call-In Show, last night, and I've been preaching it since we found out about this Battleground match. Bray Wyatt needed this match a lot more than Roman Reigns needed it, and he got it tonight. And not only did he get that win to either furthermore solidify himself against the top talent that Roman Reigns has gone up against, but we may also benefit from a Wyatt family reunion. So good to see Bray win. Roman can get this back at any point. It doesn't hurt Roman Reigns at all. So good win by Bray. He sorely needed it. Everybody keeps telling me he always wins on TV, but he doesn't go against top-notch talent all the time on TV. But he needed a win against a big verifiable superstar. He got it against Roman Reigns tonight, so it was a good win for Bray Wyatt. Next match up on the card, Emergency Divas match. And the reason why this match came into play, guys, is because of the injury to Ryback. He couldn't defend the Intercontinental Championship tonight against Big Show and Miz, so WWE did this as a fill-in. I'll explain the match as follows. Charlotte with Paige and Becky Lynch. Just not told you earlier.
Oh, of course.
I told you
oh,
earlier.
I heard. Oh, I heard it.
Oh, I love Becky Lynch. With Paige and Becky Lynch versus Brie Bella with Team Bella. And if you don't know who the Bellas are, the Bella Twins with Alicia Fox versus Team Bad, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina. Winner of this match was Charlotte, as she uses her submission move to figure 8. Brie Bella. What did you guys think about that match?
Swax, you can go ahead, man. I'll take over after you're done.
This match was needed on this pay-per-view. I don't care if they already had a booked Intercontinental Championship match. If you are going to present a product like the NXT Divas, you have to make it important. And if they were going to not put a Divas match on the first pay-per-view since Monday Night Raw, which was the biggest segment on the show, you needed to promote this product. And that would have been a heartbreaker for all the people that like NXT to not have a Divas match on this pay-per-view.
Very well said, sir. Very well said. Go ahead, Justin.
You know, like I spoke to you, Will, about this matchup. I mean, I took a couple of notes throughout the entire event. Brie Bella ultimately killed the motion of the match. You know, if it was just, you know, it was Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and also Becky Lynch, if all three of them, the NXT Divas coming up, and they had the match, that would have ultimately got a lot of heads into the network. The fans will be on top of everything. Everybody, you'll be hearing NXT throughout the entire arena. It wouldn't just be little echoes of NXT, which I kind of heard, but it was still an amazing match. You know, I loved it, but outside of, you know, Sasha Banks, outside of Charlotte, it was Brie Bella that ultimately killed it. You know, every 3 seconds she's screaming at the top of her lungs for no reason. I mean, she goes, Brie mode! It's like, you're saying it at such the wrong times, okay? You know, do you have to yell? Like, she's kicking in the corner, she's screaming. She's doing an elbow drop, she's screaming. She's doing a crossbody, she's screaming. She's standing in the middle of the ring, she's screaming. I mean, is it necessary for you to scream every 30 seconds after you do a move? You're getting kicked on the ground, you're screaming. I mean, just stop. But I did like, you know, the plancha by Charlotte. I did like, you know, the suicide dive by Sasha Banks. I think those were some of the highlights you want to look at in the match. But, you know, I loved it. I think that if the WWE was to go about this, you know, matchup, I wanted to see a 9-diva, you know, tag team match, elimination tag team match in this event, because you have the 3 teams. You have Team Bella. You have the Team Bad, I think is what, you know, Will called it. With it was Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks, and then you had Charlotte, Paige, and Becky Lynch. I would love to have seen a 9-diva elimination tag team match. Hopefully we do see that at SummerSlam. It will likely happen because it will be such a fantastic addition to that event. But I want to see some sort of a, you know, tag team kind of, you know, elimination warm up. Not like a tag team turmoil, more like a warm, like a 9-diva tag team elimination match. I think that would have been great for the event, but we still got a good, you know, matchup with Charlotte getting the victory with the figure 8. So it was a nice heat up match for this new revamped Divas division. I am not 100% big on the WWE taking a nice chunk of the NXT Divas division because that ultimately leaves like Carmella. That girl, I forgot her name.
Well, understand
she's with Blake and Murphy.
Well, understand this too. A lot of women indie fans would know who I'm speaking of. You have other ladies over there who just got out of Shimmer. You got Leva Bates, Blue Plants over there now. She's a great indie wrestler. She can take more of the slack. You got Jessie McKay from Shimmer. She can take a lot of that slack. And then there's other women that you can bring over as well from the indie scene who could take those spots. And Swax knows one of them. The rest of them got us Athena, Jules Malone, Barbie Hayden, and I hate to say it because I can't stand her. Santana Garrett can probably come back and do a little something over there for her second go around. So you do have some ladies over there that can actually take up that slack, or you can get to take that slack up.
With women's wrestling, if Stephanie McMahon wants to impress us, until now, the TNA Knockouts was the best women's division of professional wrestling. And nobody, since the Knockouts got formed, there was no other women's division to compete. And now that the Knockouts, is dwindling now, the Knockouts, every time they wrestled, they put on a clinic. And if Stephanie McMahon wants to promote women's wrestling, they need to probably end the Divas brand and mostly make it a more of a women's division where women wrestlers are going to put on a clinic. NXT Divas right now are that division that can put on a clinic. We want to see this every Monday night on Raw, every Thursday night on SmackDown, and every pay-per-view. Because if you're going to just do this, all the drama and all the crap that the creative of the main roster wants to put out there, women's wrestling in the WWE will never be taken seriously unless Stephanie McMahon makes that huge change.
Well, we are facing one bad thing about all this. We are facing one bad thing about this, and that's Sasha Banks having to give up the NXT title.
Well, Paige had to give up the title.
Mm-hmm.
When she made it to the main roster.
Kevin Owens had to give up that title.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that he did it because of John Cena. It could have been Finn Balor's time. That's fine. But, again, that's the only downside I see of it. But if it elevates her over Nikki Bella, who should have been lost that title. I'm to the mindset Nikki doesn't need that title to be over as much as she is. And with Total Divas pretty much in her back pocket, she doesn't need that belt.
I mean, they're pulling this, or they're pushing as Nikki Bella is the ultimate goddess of the Divas division. Honestly, they were like, "Oh, she has such a historic reign." I mean, yeah, she returned to the venue when she won it back in November. Mm-hmm. But honestly, what has came about her women's title run? I think the WWE is trying to have her beat out AJ Lee's title days. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's the fact that they're going right now, but I give Nikki to somewhat improving into the ring. She's improving, or trying to improve. I don't know the correct terminology for this, but I give her the credit for what she's done in the ring. But there's nothing so legitimate about this title reign since November.
Right.
See, one thing about Nikki's title run is she's been successful because Paige has been a huge jobber these days. So Paige has lost 8 consecutive Divas Championship matches, and if it wouldn't have been for that, Nikki wouldn't have been successful with that Divas Championship run that she is right now. Because Paige should have been at least a 3 or 4 time Divas champion by now, doing this jobbing spree. And Nikki Bella should have never been this dominant the way she is. So, I agree with Justin that Nikki Bella is overrated, and what she's doing right now, it's just because of somebody's jobbing.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to reiterate Big Tom because he's not here to stay. I'm going to reiterate it again. Until John Cena loses that U.S. Championship, that belt ain't coming off Nikki Bella.
Oh, I can see it.
That belt ain't coming off Nikki Bella. If John Cena would have lost tonight, that belt would have came off Nikki quick. It would have came off Nikki quick some type of way. Or maybe tomorrow night on Raw. But until John Cena loses that U.S. title, that Divas title stayed right there on Nikki Bella. WWE, and speaking of John Cena, WWE United States Championship match was defended tonight. John Cena versus Kevin Owens. John Cena gets the win via the STF submission to retain the United States Championship. Swax, let's start with you.
This was the most anticipated match of the night, and this was, Kevin Owens was the heavy, and I mean heavy favorite to win this match. He's been working his ass off since he made it to the main roster, and what happens? Not only within 3 weeks he lost the NXT Championship, but his bettering continued tonight at Battleground when John Cena defeated him when he needed this title to stay on top. And now that Kevin Owens lost tonight's match, I don't know what his future holds, because right now he's in that buried list of John Cena's victories.
Boy, talk about taking it personal. Justin, what's your take?
Well, he's basically, covered it, basically what I was about to say. I mean, if you look back at Kevin Owens' recent track record in wrestling, if you look at his time at NXT, he's 0-4 in his last 4 matches. Lost to John Cena tonight. He lost that tag team champion, or not that tag team championship, that tag team match on NXT. Mm-hmm. He lost his NXT matchup. He lost to John Cena at the last pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. What the hell is the WWE doing with Kevin Owens right now? John Cena, this match was ended so wrong. It shouldn't have gone the way it did. Okay, if Kevin Owens can survive an attitude adjustment off the top rope, multiple attitude adjustments, but he has to tap out to an to the STF to end the matchup. No, that is utter bullshit. I want to see Kevin Owens today as the United States Championship. He needs that title. He needed it to be kind of relevant. He just can't be coming out to to little challenges of John Cena, because I guarantee we're going to see some sort of a final chapter match at SummerSlam, because you just can't keep on having Cena and Owens on every single pay-per-view if there's not a lot more stipulations to the match. But I was expecting, Kevin Owens to come away with the victory tonight. He needed this U.S. title to keep this rivalry going. Now that John Cena is up 2-1 to him, it does not make a whole lot of sense. What is the avenue they're going to be going down now? Storyline-wise, it's a big clusterfuck right now, because, it kind of goes back to the whole, why did Samoa Joe come to the WWE? Samoa Joe was down in NXT. They're not going to put Kevin Owens back down in NXT so he can have a rivalry with, Samoa Joe. Yes, that would be fantastic, but you can't go from having three fantastic matches with John Cena just for you to go back down to NXT in development, have some sort of a rivalry with Samoa Joe, and where does he go from there? Where does Kevin Owens go from there? That's why I think that if Kevin Owens was still going to be in top tier shape in some sort of storyline, and it's going to end up being against John Cena, he had to win the title tonight. There is where does it go from here? Is the storyline going to be relevant anymore? Are we just going to end up seeing some more John Cena, Kevin Owens matches for every single pay-per-view? Are we going to end up seeing it at SummerSlam? Are we going to end up seeing more matches come all the way building up to SummerSlam? Are we going to see one at United Champions? It does not really make a whole lot of sense why the WWE did not put the title on Kevin Owens right now. It's just making me pissed off. It pissed off a lot of the fans in the front row around the world. The WWE should be ultimately ashamed of themselves with the way that this match really came to an end. It was such a great match. I give it the credit with all the highlights that they put into this match. It ended wrong.
Agreed. Agreed.
And because of that loss with Kevin Owens, that basically cut all the wind out of the sales of the pay-per-view, and me, along with other people, which I think other people would have done it along with me, they probably shut off the pay-per-view, after that match, because that was the whole life just being sucked right out of the pay-per-view.
Let me get your opinion on something, guys. This pay per view was going along fine. It was going along fine. Everything was hyped up. The crowd was into the pay per view. Everything was going well until these last two matches. We already talked about the U.S. title. Now we're about to get into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. We'll get your guys' take on that. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar, where Paul Heyman went to a no contest. When we get the return of The Undertaker, who attacked Brock Lesnar. First of all, Undertaker being there was irrelevant, and it makes no sense. The streak is over. How you gonna get revenge on a streak that you can never revenge? The one loss is there. It is there. It's going to stay there. So for Undertaker to come out and do what he did and leave, and fellas, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this the first pay-per-view main event we had no result?
Probably.
Recent memory? I don't think so. Probably.
Recent memory. This is the first one that we've ever had, to my knowledge. We had no result. No disqualification, no pinfall, really?
And what I have to do is, I have to shockingly give The Undertaker a little bit of respect, because this is the first time in like 5 years that The Undertaker appeared on television twice within a calendar year.
That's true.
Because The Undertaker always appears once a year for WrestleMania in the last 5 years, and after WrestleMania, he goes home. He sits on the sofa. He drinks his beer. He watches television all day. This is the first time in 5 years The Undertaker got off the couch and actually went into a wrestling ring and actually did something.
Let me say this too, though. Everybody was happy to see him. I get it. He's Undertaker. He looked terrible.
Yeah, I have to definitely agree with that, because Brock had to sell for him.
Yeah.
And that's not good. It's just not good.
He was just he looked terrible. His face was, I don't know, man. He should have kept the hat on. I don't know. He looked bad, but it was good to see him in the ring one more time. He's gonna give you a Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, where I predicted that was gonna happen. B, I predicted last night on the call-in show that there was going to be shenanigans in this match, but I thought it was going to be Kane, that the Undertaker, who caused it. So, again, what was, as a whole, what would you guys grade 2015 WWE Battleground? What would you grade it?
I would rate it a C+.
Justin?
When you look at past, Battleground shows, if you look at the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, I want to say that's what the Dave Meltzer website, I can't really name at the top of my head, but they rated Battleground as the worst pay-per-view over the past couple of years, and I agree with that. Last year's installment was, it was not even worth the review, not even worth the watch. I think that pay-per-view should have ultimately just not even exist in wrestling history. The year before last year's was also just complete crap. This year's was a huge step up. I mean, the Battleground, the name of it actually sounds pretty great, but this was a really good show. I really liked it. I praised Kevin Owens, John Cena. Besides the ending of the match, I give it a lot of credit. I loved the Bray Wyatt Roman Reigns matchup. Such a fantastic match. The main event, even though it was a kind of a repeat of WrestleMania, but exchange Roman Reigns with Seth Rollins, Undertaker showing up. It was. What's the point? I mean, why would the WWE bring Undertaker back to such like one of the lowest rated pay-per-views in the entire calendar year for the WWE? If you're gonna have the Undertaker, return to an event, have him return at an event that has some sort of meaning, like a SummerSlam, like a Night of Champions, or even Survivor Series, something that has a little bit more relevance, not WWE Battleground.
Right.
Yes, the name sounds great, but ultimately I do not agree with the WWE bringing in The Undertaker for this. I think the reason why they did is to, hype up a SummerSlam matchup between Taker and Brock Lesnar, which would be good, but it's not going to be the ultimate, selling focal point of the event. So, I mean, this event was good. I really loved it. It's a big step up. There were still some flaws into it. I think we've already covered all of them. This is a solid, C-, C+ show. If I had to rate it out of 5, I'd give it, a 3.8 or a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I mean, past events was like a 0 or a 1 at most. This was a nice, step up for future Battleground shows.
See, the last 2 matches is what killed it.
Yep.
I agree with you, William. The last 2 matches it really killed it, and that's why I gave it a C+. Because if not, it would have been like an A-. I would have really enjoyed the pay-per-view, but the last 2 matches,
yeah.
Yep.
Real quick.
I mean, the matches were good. I mean, you have to give some sort of credit. I mean, you look at the performance of the John Cena Bray Wyatt, the John Cena Kevin Owens match. That match was just, it was kind of slow at the beginning of the match. It was very, very slow pace. Then it really started to pick up a whole lot. But just because the ending of the match shouldn't have ultimately killed the rating for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still looking at about a C, maybe a C- is what we're looking at.
yeah.
Okay. I knew that's going to be about right for me too. It's not a B, but about a C- is right for me. I want to do one thing too. I want to go ahead and play a few of these videos that WWE did put out over some of the winners tonight. The first one I play is the Primetime Players. Hopefully I don't get a commercial. Here we go.
Titus Deeren, how gratifying was tonight's title defense, considering it was more like a 3-on-2 match rather than a regular tag team match?
It was a 3-on-2 out there, but St. Louis saw it all. St. Louis saw PTP turn up because it was prime time for us.
Listen, we knew going in when the odds were going to be stacked against us. And I know a lot of prediction sheets and everything else.
Dirt sheets, huh?
I don't know what they called. Anyway, spoiler alerts, whatever it may be. This ain't the first time this man had his back against the wall. This ain't the first time my back has been against the wall. And it's damn sure ain't the first time that these people ain't seen somebody's back against the wall. Their backs have been against the wall. We see kids out there that are fighting cancer, women that are fighting breast cancer, soldiers that are going off and fighting for our country each and every week. We get an opportunity to meet people, and there is no way that we were going to go out there after 5 weeks, something we worked for 5 years, and let the New Day take that away from us. We got a whole generation of people behind us, in our families, everything else in between, that are looking for us to keep our names in the WWE history books. So JoJo, tonight, it wasn't just gratifying, it was absolutely dynamite! Now we gotta go turn up on some apple juice and some orange juice, because I don't drink. I'll holler at you.
Ocean cocktail?
Ocean cocktail, you know what that is, right? Oh, that ain't nothing but water. We'll talk to you.
An ocean cocktail.
Very entertaining from the Prime.
It's like Capri Sun, like tropical punch.
Oh man, I want to do one more very, very quickly. This is King Barrett celebrating his win over R-Truth. There's some technical difficulties here. There we go.
Backstage here in St. Louis on the WWE Battleground kickoff show. King Barrett, you defeat R-Truth in the battle for the crown. I couldn't help but hearing after your match a lot of boos. I mean, it's not exactly the obedience you were hoping for.
You know, I've always been of the opinion that the lowest rung of humanity is inhabited by the couch critics of the WWE Universe. And what they just witnessed out there was a revolution, because I conquered their king, King What's Up, in front of his own people. Their boos were music to my ears. And now those idiots in the WWE Universe, they've got the genuine article right here. And King Barrett is for real.
Jesus.
Did he just say, King, what's up?
Yeah.
That was some riveting shit right there.
Oh my goodness. I can't take it.
I was at the edge of my seat when he said, King, what's up?
King, what's
I was just like, oh damn, this stuff is going down right now.
Yeah.
We're about to have an A-list show tomorrow night on Raw with King What's Up and King Bear. Might as well call him. Oh crap! I gotta find something to make fun of tomorrow night. I'll let you guys know. Follow me on Twitter.
Give out your Twitter hashtags, guys. People can follow. Give out your Twitter hashtag, guys. People can follow along with you. Give out your Twitters.
Yeah, hashtag King What's Up.
Hashtag King What's Up.
No, give out your Twitter handles so people can follow you on Twitter.
I want to change my Twitter handler to hashtag King What's Up. Hashtag King What's Up. The official verified account of hashtag King What's Up.
I'll change mine to hashtag Royal Plunger.
And then, William, you can change your Twitter name to __ hashtag King What's Up Plunger.
Yep.
Or _King What's Up Plunger.
There you go. Wild times, man. Wild time for sure. All right. A few more things I want to get into before we roll out for this evening. Were you fellas aware? Going over to the World of Impact for a quick second. MVP is no longer a member of the Impact Wrestling roster. He is now gone.
Ain't going to be anything shocking or surprising with all these departures by the end of the summertime.
Let me say this, and I want to say this for Surfer, who's not here with us tonight. Surfer's theory is that TNA is going to go. They're going to leave off Destination America. Everybody's going to go over to GWF. GWF is going to take that spot. And there you go. It's going to be the biggest rules ever. It's going to be the same people who ran Impact, or they're going to be running Global Force Wrestling.
This is what I think. I think once Impact is off of Destination America, I think Jeff Jarrett, once he gets whatever people that want to sign with him, I think Jeff Jarrett's going back on Spike TV.
I want to see Global Force Wrestling on Spike TV. I mean, honestly, Jeff Jarrett is a creative genius. I give him the credit for everything. Once he turned it into the hands of Dixie Carter, it was good for the first couple of months. A lot of people really did not like TNA around the years of 2008 to 2011. They weren't the biggest TNA fans. I've always liked TNA because it was always an alternate to the ultimately, rated K show, the WWE rated K for kids at the time. It was good wrestling. You saw Jeff Hardy. We had Austin Aries. We had Beer Money at the time. We had, I liked the Fortune stable, and nothing really went about. They had AJ Styles, had a much, better roster than what the WWE had. But, after everything with Hulk Hogan and Bischoff, everything going into TNA started falling off. Now, when you look at, July 19th, 2015, the roster has completely diminished. You don't have anybody on your roster. You have guys like Robert Roode that are sticking around, but they can only do so much with him. I know James Storm is gone. A majority of the roster is gone. So TNA is basically at the focal point of when are they going to close their doors? When is it officially the burial of TNA? Am I going to miss TNA? You're damn right I'm going to miss TNA. I mean, they've put on so many great shows, in the early years. I consider myself a TNA original fan. I have just about every DVD that the entire promotion has produced. I've been a fan of the X Division. It's a shame that where they are right now, and when Jeff Jarrett left and he put it, a complete run into the hands of Dixie Carter, everything went to hell. Everything has taken the route of 2015 being the worst year for it, and look at where they are now. I can go to bed, fine and dandy with MVP not being on the TNA roster. He is signed with Lucha Underground, which is a very exciting show. I really like Lucha Underground. Hopefully they renew it for another season. But there's just so much that can really go. The ending of TNA could happen by the end of the year. I think that TNA will survive the next 2 to 3, maybe 4 months, and then you start seeing more wrestlers not being paid, the ringside crew not being paid. Then you're going to end up seeing superstars leave, and then the contract deal with TNA is going to be up, and then TNA is going to end up completely falling out of place, and then you're going to end up seeing the final door shut going in the 2016 year.
You see, one thing about TNA is that when they first got the deal with Destination America, Destination America knows nothing about professional wrestling. They know nothing about sports in general. And when they teamed with Dixie Carter and their production, crew, when they debuted, everything is like the lowest form of production that they could possibly get. It looks lousy, this show. Only the wrestlers try to liven it up. There's really nothing special with how the program is run, but it's saddening that a company that was going to compete with WWE is now on its way out, and Dixie Carter, she shot herself in the foot way too many times in the last few years, ever since Jeff Jarrett parted ways with the partnership with her. And, it's a shame. The wrestlers that put out all the good work every week that was on Spike TV and now on Destination America have to be the victims because they're not going to have any jobs if they don't want to look out for work. And unless Jeff Jarrett can provide work, unless Vince McMahon can provide work, unless other indie, federations can provide the work, these wrestlers are basically being victimized. But hopefully with Jeff Jarrett, he could get a deal with Spike TV, because Spike TV never had any issues with Jeff Jarrett, and they would love to have a working partnership with him again. And I think that once Global Force gets back on Spike TV, you're going to see some good ratings. Because when the name Dixie Carter is not involved in a wrestling company, there's going to be a lot of trust built amongst everybody to watch that program. So I'm looking for a good 2016 for Jeff Jarrett and all of the Global Force Wrestling crew, and hopefully, they are very successful by 2017.
We shall see what those guys do. All right, any final thoughts you guys want to hit before we get on out of here for the night? We're going to try to keep this thing maybe a little more than an hour or so.
Hashtag team what's up. That's my final thought.
My final thought is, this past week on Impact, my girl Brooke won her third
Here we go.
TNA Knockouts
Here we
Women's
go.
Championship.
Here we go.
And I want to give her the biggest congratulations because she deserves it. She's that talented of a female wrestler that you cannot take easily and that you cannot take lightly.
Give you 30 names right now. Who's better? But okay, not gonna get into that right now. That will be for another show. You guys,
Can I have a quick second of your time, Mr. Morgan?
Sure, go ahead.
I would like to give a shout out to Triple H for great development down at NXT.
Yes.
Hopefully we get some more divas.
Yes.
And I would like to thank the WWE for an excellent rebounding show for Battleground. And I think that this show should end with this theme song.
What did you find at?
That was on YouTube. That is Triple H's 1996-1997 theme song. It's called Ode to Joy. Because Battleground was actually an excellent show, and it's about time that there's some relevance to this pay-per-view.
That's a good point. So that was the second WWE thing? Yeah, that was the second one. There we go. Well, we will end the show with that then. I want to thank everybody for being here with us. We'll be doing more of these as the rest of the season progresses. Also want to let you guys be aware as the NFL season, college football season comes into play. We're going to be doing some of the Athlete Inquirer podcast. We're going to talk about the NFL, college football. We'll be breaking that down all the way up until the Super Bowl, up until your bowl season. So we'll definitely get your thoughts and opinions there. Hopefully we'll be broadcasting live at that point. We'll have a number for you guys to call into the show, get your thoughts and opinions in. Go open this thing up for everybody can be involved. If there is nothing else, I want to thank you, Swax, for being with me. Justin, I want to thank you for being with me. And I will see you guys as soon as possible. Training camp starts in 2 weeks?
Let's go Chargers, baby. Let's do it.
Training camp
City of Champions.
Is training camp 2
Let's
weeks?
go Eagles.
Is it 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought so. So we might do some early training camp podcast. Talk about maybe work out 1 or 2 teams of podcast till we get the whole league taken care of. All right, guys. We'll see you then. Everybody, please take care and have a great night.